Good afternoon. We're back once again. Unfortunately, work does have me kind of tied up today, so I can't really be streaming that long. So we're gonna get right to it. We started with the introduction yesterday. I believe we should be talking about the mind today. I'll break up my outline in a second. Okay, let's rock and roll. Let's see. Yes, we are talking about the mind. All right, I got like 30 minutes worth of work, and we should be good to go. So let's read this over again just to see how it is. Saber Lily is a girl who was not yet bound by the weight of kingship or scarred by betrayal. She strived for a future where courage was enough, justice was clear. Who the fuck? Alright, I'm gonna ignore that. Justice was clear and loyalty could preserve her kingdom. At this point in her life, she was at her purest, at her most purest. Always proofread your stuff. At this point in her life, she was at her most purest and not burdened by the hardships that would affect her future self even in death. Yet, even in those days, there was a looming shadow that served as a hint to what she was destined for. We were all broken. That's how the light gets in. Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway's words paints a haunting picture. For every mistake, every small failure she endured, these became points where light and strength entered. But in this case, I need a comma there. But in this case, to be broken is not to be weak. It is to be reshaped. For Lily, this meant her life would be a long reshaping. I might have to change that around a little bit. Okay, yet with every break, the cost deepened until she was no longer the girl she started as. Her journey is not one of triumphs shining brightly out of hopes diminishing. Ooh, yeesh. Yeah, I gotta fix that. Hold on. Her journey is not one of triumphs shining brightly, but of hopes. Diminishing slowly until necessity was late. Yeah, I just gotta read that in a specific way, but yeah, that's a cringe sentence, but it's all good. The point is there. So her journey is not one of triumph shining brightly, but of hopes diminishing slowly until necessity was left. Her story is one of how dreams can be shifted and replaced with duty, how empathy becomes both a burden and a weapon. No matter how pure her vision of the future seemed, her path was never hers to choose. It was carved in fate. Title drop. Every step forward would bring her closer to the shattering truth. Lily would fade so that Artoria could arise. I like it. As usual, don't drink unless you're an adult. Sure as hell is gonna need this. I may abruptly might have to stop if work calls me. Alright. So we're talking about the mind today. This is a lot shorter than my normal introductions, but this is not gonna be that long of a video. Okay. The mind. Give me a sec. You're only getting me, that's for sure. Alright, sorry about that. The mind. At first glance. It'll make me talk about Lance or Artoria because that's when that's way past my time. I'm like, as soon as people told me about that, I'm like, wow, okay, holy shit, fate, like, what have you become? Arstoria? At first glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. But I do have to get with the times. This being the old guard, especially with Type Moon, doesn't work anymore. I just didn't have the time to keep up. It's hard keeping up with the ever-growing lore of fate. Like Tsukihime's whatever, Karen no Kyokai is Ryogi's in a funny spot right now. But for the most part, like Tsukihime, Melty, Karen no Kyokai, that's fine. It's just fate was just so hard to keep up with the times. It really was. Like there's new characters getting introduced, new media, all that fun stuff. And I didn't want to waste my battery life because my phone is important to me. And FGO took a lot of battery. So first glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. She doesn't carry. She doesn't carry. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy yet. Tragedy. But in that quotations because it doesn't have to be physical scars, it can be mental scars. Because as we know, Saber has, as I mentioned this before, Saber has the Type Moon main character baggage. And again, this is her at her purest, her most immature, and kind of a metaphor too. Because Lily starts off as a blank slate, dressed, white, pure. Then, as she progresses in life, she gains armor, quite literally. Yeah, there's a metaphor there. We don't need to talk about that though. I talk to myself when I'm thinking, so don't mind me. I yap a lot. I feel like I probably should redo those. I feel I should redo the Mordred and the Mordred video, Salter, and who else did I do? Jalter. I really think I should probably redo those. Instead, she looks. I'm gonna be cringe. Almost. She looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. Yep, I was gonna do it. The harshness of fate. We would have at least one title drop today. Okay. Just gotta keep on checking my phone just in case. Even though I'm off duty, I'm on duty. Okay, so let's see what we got. At first glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy or the scars of battle. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. Fuck. I'm really just trying not to be cringe, but it kind of gets kind of silly with Type Moon. Okay. Purity and innocence. I swear, one day I'm gonna open this flask, and whatever's in it is just gonna blast in my face just because of the pressure that's in there. It's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, fuck! I just got blasted by alcohol." Oh yeah. All right. We have to have a little powwow for a second. All right. So I'm having issues with this laptop of mine. For some weird reason, it's not holding a charge no more. So I got to send it in to get repairs. So I'll be AFK for at least like 2 weeks until this thing gets repaired. So I'm not shipping it out yet. They're sending me the container that I need to ship this back in. So that should arrive in like 5 days. So I'll try to release at least 2 videos and I have to release 2 videos in the next couple of days. I'll try to get this done as fast as I can. This is going to be a relatively short one, but again, just forewarned that I'm not going to be available for the next like maybe 2 weeks until they fix this thing over here, just because it is not holding a charge. I have to sweet spot every time, and thank God I still have this under warranty. Anyway, all right, back to this. My biggest gripe coming here is I didn't bring my gaming PC. I should have brought it, but I wasn't thinking at the time. So I ended up getting this thing. It's not a bad laptop, not at all. Like I can game pretty good, and I can do video editing and all that fun stuff. It's just the charging port's going out, so I got to use that warranty. But that means I won't be available for at least a couple of weeks until they fix this thing, which I'm very sad. Wait, how the hell is that gonna work? I'll have to figure that out later. Her white motif showcases purity, innocence. Purity, innocence. And possibility. Besides that, the dress is cool. It's a very nice contrast to full blown dressed armored Saber. I'm like, this does not seem very practical, but sure. Not saying Lily's outfit's even better. Like Lily's outfit's totally impractical, but looks nice. But it's fate. Who cares about practicality? Looking at you, Ishtar. Oh, I don't even say like full blown armor mode is just mash. Mash is prepared for battle. Enough of that. All right. That's what makes her stand out. Jesus Christ. All right. I was this close to writing Altria. I'm gonna do a hot take. I'm gonna do a very hot take, but I'll explain myself later. I wonder. At first glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy or the scars of battle. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. Title drop. In a sense, she's the knight at the beginning of her journey. Her white motif shows purity, innocence, and possibility. That's what makes her stand out. She's a Artoria who still believes in ideals, who hasn't learned the cost of carrying it alone. All right, we're gonna be cringy here. She is hope made flesh. And a glimpse of what it means. Glimpse of what it means to imagine destiny before it takes place. To imagine destiny for it takes shape. First glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy or scars of battle. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. In a sense, she's a knight at the beginning of her journey. Her white motif shows purity, innocence, and possibility. That's what makes her stand out. She is Artoria who still fully believes in ideals, who hasn't learned the cost of carrying it alone. She is hope made flesh and a glimpse of what it means to imagine destiny before it takes shape. Oh my god. Hmm. I wonder. Ooh. Okay. All right. Here comes the rabbit hole. Shit. Okay. How the hell am I gonna write this? This is not bad. Just give me like a minute to think here. She isn't fully separated from her future self. Because in a sense, how she was could have been what Saber could have been. But title drop fate didn't allow that to happen. Yeah, Saber is a tragic character, so yeah, this is a can of worms. Give me a second here. Fuck it, we ball. Let's go. What time is it? All right, I got like 10 more minutes left. Damn. All right. She's fully separated from her future self. Uh. She feels. She feels like she is a what if. What if? She feels like she is a what if. What Artoria may might have been. Oh yeah, this is gonna be this is gonna get funny. What Artoria might have been. Yeah, this is gonna be weird. All right, screw it. We'll deal with the repercussions later. What Artoria might have been if fate were kinder. We know. Fuck it, because oh shit, yeah, this is gonna be funny. This is gonna be very, very funny. All right, let's read this again. At first glance, Lily feels different from the Artoria we've come to know. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy or the scars of battle. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. Jesus. Untouchable by fate, yeah. Not Saber, that's for sure. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. In a sense, she's a knight at the beginning of her journey. Her white motif shows purity, innocence, and possibility. That's what makes her stand out. She is a Tory who still fully believes in ideals, who hasn't learned the cost of carrying it alone. She is hope made flesh and a glimpse of what it means to imagine destiny before it takes shape. But this is what makes this tragic. She isn't fully separated from her future self. She feels like she is a what if. What Artoria might have been if fate were kinder to her, because we know where her path leads. This is the heart of Lily's character. This is the heart of Lily's character. Oh, we're about to cook here. This is the heart of Lily's character. She represents a question. She represents a question. She represents a question of what of what it would mean to remain unbroken. Okay. To imagine ourselves, to imagine ourselves, to imagine ourselves, to imagine a version of ourselves, to imagine a version of ourselves that was never held down. Oh man, that's the third time. Oh, we're on a roll today with fate. We are definitely on a roll. Oh my god, it's fine. 5 more minutes, then I definitely gotta wrap it up. We gotta, alright. I think this is good. Lily's story isn't about what she is. She is, but in what she will eventually become. But what she she will eventually become. Her tale her tale becomes even more tragic. Lily is temporary. Jeez, oh my god. Lily is temporary. Lily is a temporary self, which gets Lily is a temporary self which gets ousted. No, Lily is a temporary self which collapses under the demand of duty All right, let's read this again. I gotta make a couple changes here. At first glance, Lily feels different from the Arturi we've come to know. She doesn't carry the weight of tragedy or the scars of battle. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of life. Fate. God. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. I hate when that happens. You just start adding random ass words that just don't exist. Instead, she looks almost untouched by the harshness of fate. In a sense, she's the knight at the beginning of her journey. Her white motif shows purity, innocence, and possibility. That's what makes her stand out. She is Artoria, who still believes in ideals, who hasn't learned the cost of carrying it alone. She is hope made flesh and a glimpse of what it means to imagine destiny before it takes shape. But this is what makes this tragic. She isn't fully separated from her future self. She feels like a what if. She feels like she is a what if. What Artoria might have been if fate were kinder to her, because we know where her path leads. This is the heart of Lily's character. She represents a question of what it would mean to remain unbroken, to imagine a version of ourselves that was never held down by destiny and fate. To imagine a version of ourselves that was never held down by fate. Lily's story isn't about what she is, but in what she will eventually become. Her tale becomes even more tragic. Lily is a temporary self which collapses under the demand of duty and destiny. In the eventual the part of her that remains, shadow of her former self. All right, so unfortunately, I do got to wrap it up because I got to go take care of some work-related stuff. So we'll do the next section tomorrow, and we'll proceed from there. So far, this is looking pretty good. We got the introduction done. We got the section 1 done. We're moving on to the next section afterwards. Have a good rest of your evening, and I'll see people tomorrow. Take care. Enjoy the VOD.